So tell people about their not just the plot, but some of the historical context for your lovely film Meadowlarks.
Yeah. So, you know, the original story came to me from Betty Ann Adam, who's a Dene journalist and writer, who, said I've been looking for my siblings. I'm part of the 60 Scoop child removal, and I found them all, and we're going to meet for the first time and go on a holiday together. And do you want to, help me make a documentary? Oh my goodness, what an amazing story, of course. And we did that with the NFB helping us in producing. But, we we decided that the family just wanted to focus on the immediate and the present and not go into the past. And, the 60s scoop or child removal system, decades of, state sponsored, taking children for a variety of reasons, and not necessarily providing the kinds of language, cultural support that children need. Um, we knew that there was such a big story, and it's something I came on the tail end of that, and it's part of my experience. Um, and we just thought, man, like we can, in a fictional telling, we can lean into more of that without giving a history lesson. I think sometimes Indigenous films, that's the expectation, is we're going to teach. And, I think, sure, some films are meant for that. And then some films that just tell you a good story, and you're, hopefully inspired to go and learn more and do some research. And so, but we definitely wanted to kind of bring that history on the page through our characters, through what they've been through, and how they're relating to both themselves and their siblings that they're meeting.
Beautiful. And if people go to the NFB site, they can actually watch Birth of a Family for
Yeah,
free.
yes, they
Yeah,
can.
yeah. And they can do that before or after. It's a nice companion piece.
I know. Yeah, we hope that was like, oh, great. We'll the doc will have a new life. This is great.
Tell me
Yeah.
about the challenge of sort of breaking it down and then putting it back together again. How do you take a documentary that dramatize it?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I had a co-writer. I'm somewhat new to screenwriting, and I asked the producers for that. I said I want someone who really knows their craft, and I can work with and collaborate. And so we spent a lot of time on character, because the characters in the drama are not the four real siblings. We needed to come up with new characters, and that we spent a lot of time on that, so that when we got to, okay, now here are our people, what are we going to keep from the doc? What are we going to do? Where are we going to change and shift? That really helped us stay grounded. And no matter how we changed the plot and the action and what they did, we knew how they'd react, because, we'd done so much on that. So I definitely see that as a way to keep going, because it was so helpful. No matter what changed, we were like, okay, if this changes, then these are what these four are going to do. And yeah, so that really helped us.
And what's Tasha like as a director?
Tasha is a fantastic director. I think, I'm fortunate. I've been in the industry over 30 years, and I've worked with some really great directors. The one thing that I admire about directors that I think Tasha has in abundance is a really clear sense of the story she wants on film. I think the process of filmmaking is kind of like it's a bit bloated, right? Because it's like, oh, we need this angle, got to turn around. Like, so there's a lot of like, I think there's I don't know, more shot than ultimately what's on film. Like there's like twice as much material shot as what's on film. And so as an actor, you're sort of like, I gotta keep at this, right? To give the volume of material that editing and editors need. But what I really liked about working with Tasha is that she really knew this family, she really knew the siblings, and she knew what she wanted in the end. And so that to me is everything. That I know where where the emphasis has to go. I know where the performance has to really land. I know which part is, I can play or figure something out. So in the end, it just clarified for me how I work when I had a director that was confident in her sense of the story.
I love that. The essentials are there. It's kind of baked in. That's beautiful. And so, what are the main themes of the film? What would you say? How do you say that then?
Mm. We talked a lot about the need to belong, and how as human beings, whether this is not specific to Indigenous people or anyone else, that we all have that sense of wanting to belong, and often a family is that initial place of that. And so then in the case of this family, because they are Indigenous, they weren't allowed to be a family. What does that mean to them to belong? And how does that, happen within family boundaries? But, with the scene with the elders, is it transcends that as well, right? That it's also belonging to your community, belonging, to to where you come from. So that's one thing that stayed with us a lot.
All right. And was it nice to be in Banff?
It was. I mean, it was incredible locations, But I do want to talk about
Sure.
where we shot and what is what I take away from it and what I hope audiences understand is these are prairie people. Like, the family is from the prairies, and we ended up going to Banff and filming there, and also we were in Golden, but it plays for Banff. And so you look at these monumental landscapes, these like icy green lakes and, snow-capped mountains and all this power and majesty. And you have these figures, like these characters set against that. And it's interesting to have these prairie people there. But I actually think that there's a hidden narrative in the film. Like all films have, the narrative that it's about, it's about belonging and family, but also sometimes images tell their own story. And I look at the characters, I look at these siblings, and I actually think, they're set against these backdrops of these mountains, and the mountains are eternal, right? The land is eternal. It's always been there. And I actually think that is not accidental. I know it was kind of accidental in the case of Birth of Family, and this is where they met. But when I walk away from the film, I actually understand that the location was telling a story about these characters and about Indigenous people, that we are actually eternal, that we've been here forever, and that we remain despite a lot of stuff that has happened, right? And so that, to me, that's the hidden narrative of the film, is that these characters are as present as the mountains. And to me, that's why the final shot of the film just like kills me. It's these two a young Native couple walking, and they're in the prairie, right? Like ostensibly they're in the prairie. But to me, I was like, oh, they're the mountains.
Wow, that's beautiful. Well, we're gonna have to leave it there. It's a beautiful note to leave on as well. And I appreciate both of your time, and I highly encourage people to check out the film. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.